Ladies and gentlemen, we are talking about interior O-linemen coming up in the 2023 draft. The 2023 draft will be held in the last weekend of April 26th through the
27th.
7th.
27th
Yeah,
April 29th, yeah.
April 27th through the 29th.
Yes, sir.
But like I alluded to before, let's go into it. We're talking interior O-linemen. We talked about the guys that might be more well-known. Let's talk about some of these sleepers, some of these guys that maybe people haven't necessarily heard of or was just deeper on some teams that they haven't looked at.
Yeah, absolutely. So I got 3 here. One's kind of it's a tackle we talked about last week as a sleeper at the tackle position. It's Matthew Bergeron from Syracuse. He's a guy that I've heard a lot of teams are kind of liking him across all 5 spots again. I don't know that I'd put him at center, but I do like him at both tackle and guard. So he's got that versatility there. So he's a guy to kind of keep an eye on at the guard position. Another center / guard, Jarrett Patterson from Notre Dame. Yes. He's a guy that he was number 1 at the interior offensive line position to start the year. And then he just stayed solid, but everyone else got so good that they're kind of passing him over. And he's still a very good player to get. He's just going to end up in the 3rd, 4th round, kind of like Oluwatimi there. Mm-hmm. And then the last one for me, a guy that's definitely on day 3, that 4th through 6th round kind of player, but is still solid, is Emil Achior from Alabama. Big guy, able to move people in the run game. Yeah, he's solid. Just Alabama didn't have quite the year they typically have, so he slid a little bit. But it's another guy that could compete for a starting job in a year or 2 here. So he's another guy to definitely keep an eye on.
Oh, I love that. Yeah, I've Jarrett Patterson is one that I've been watching Notre Dame this year, obviously, and Jarrett Patterson is a guy that I've kept my eye on, is really controlling the middle of that line. He showed North Carolina when they got us. Also out of Ole Miss, Nick Broker. Out of Ole Miss, he's been coming up as of late. And then the name out of a school you don't hear of, McClendon Curtis. I've seen some of his stuff. It has potential. But it's kind of like some of those edge rushers and stuff that we talked about in time from like Stephen F. Austin or the guy Andre Carter from Army, who has potential. They have heart and everything, but you wonder how it's going to translate, how it's going to move to the NFL. So some of these guys maybe have to get on the right team. But Jarrett Patterson, I think, is somebody that could actually make a significant difference. Especially in the middle of that line, man. So
if you get him, that's somebody that in training camp is fighting for a starting spot year 1. Yeah. He's a very solid player. Like I said, he dropped because he just kind of stayed the same, and then everyone else kind of soared up. So he's up amongst, like I said, him and Oluwatimi are probably the 2 best centers overall in this draft, and they're gonna go day 3 more than likely. So it's just some of these other guys, they have that potential to them, so they kind of soared up. But these guys are guys that are going to walk in and compete for a starting spot day 1.
Oh yeah. Now you got a couple other names. I'm going back to Wisconsin. Joe Tipman.
He was my number 5.
Strawberg. There it is. Yeah. And again, a lot of times you have these guys that played along the line with other great guys, and they got opportunities to, get some more eyes on them. You know what I mean? Yeah. So that's one of the reasons why we want to kind of bring some of these guys up. Who else do you have? Anybody?
That Stromberg from Arkansas that you were just going to talk about there, I really like him. That's kind of, I just wrote down a few of the sleepers, but that was all the names I had.
Yeah. So that's definitely something. Now these guys, I've seen some that could potentially go maybe 2nd, 3rd, but are these guys, you think these guys are dropping farther down the list, or is it kind of like what you mentioned with once you kind of get a run on linemen, these guys might actually get picked up a little earlier than maybe they would have otherwise.
Yeah, so currently, and it's just the fact that there's so many good interior offensive linemen this year that it's going to be, there's going to be early and often, and you're going to get starting caliber guys in the 5th round probably this year for interior guys. So you'll probably see a run early, and then it'll kind of die down a bit, and then you'll see a run on day 3. But like 5, 6, maybe 7 of these interior guys are probably gone by the 3rd round. That's fairly realistic this year.
Oh, I love that. So definitely, stay tuned for that. Stay tuned to see when these guys kind of fall. And another reason why we're giving you these names is so that when they come up, you can be like, oh, that's who Alex mentioned. That's the guy Sean was talking about. Kind of keeping you guys, abreast of, some of the guys that have played for all these years, but might not get a lot of the attention. Sometimes, and you could speak to this more than I can, being in the trenches, that's not the glory position,
Yeah, typically your name only gets called when you mess up. So
right.
Very, very few people, if you're good, know your name. So
right. From a running back, I mean, that first person we ran to wasn't the pretty boy quarterbacks. It wasn't the diva wide receivers. It was the O-lineman. That's why a lot of times you see in the league when a running back scores, he gives the ball to the O-lineman. So they give them the opportunity to do the spike and the whole 9. So, yeah, my line was my best friend. So let's go there.
Oh, yeah.
Buddy.